Alright guys, so it is the next video on the trailer rebuild series here. And I went ahead and I've got these corner pieces cut, these 5x3 angle or 3x5, whichever you want to call it. It's 3 inches this way, 5 inches this way, and as I say, that is for that flange to be wider so that I can secure a board on the inside of here down the rail. What I'm doing now is making a box right here. Just got this sitting here, hadn't welded it yet. The marker light's going to go right here, and then I will put a cap across here just to maybe keep wasps from building a nest up in there and giving you a surprise. Alright guys, so I've run into another little dilemma, and I had thought of this ahead of time, but the way I'm doing this, I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do about it. When I came across it, I knew I was going to come across it. But the grommet on these are made for like 1/4 inch or 3/16. Well, this flat bar is 3/8. And I had originally thought that I would take a piece of 1/4 angle and turn it the other way and build a square, but then I decided just to run the flat bar all the way across. It'd be stronger that way. So the issue I'm going to run into is whenever I drill my hole here, this grommet's not going to go all the way in. It's not going to work right. So I'm going to take a bigger bit and try to countersink it just a little bit, enough in there that it'll be kind of like that right there, so that the grommet will go all the way through and get in there. Right now I'm going to set the mag drill up here, see if we can drill a hole here for our wire to come through. That looks like the best place, somewhere in there. It'll come here, when it comes out, go straight into the pipe there. Now, not to use your mag drill 101. Oh, well, we're going to give her a shot. I'm going to ease into it. I'm not going to put much pressure because this thing can catch and go round and round. It may not be good. We got it. Don't use your mag drill like that. And that is where my pilot on my mag drill will go. And we're going to drill the hole that I think the grommet should be for the actual size, and then I'm going to come back with another bit and try to countersink so it should work. At least that's the plan. And this is why you don't really want a 50-pound mag drill for doing stuff like this right here. See, leave the liner point up right there where we want it. Turn our magnet on, you see it suck down. Alright, I think we are ready to go now. Only issue is I'm not going to be able to get any coolant to my drill bit doing it like this, so I need to get something other to spray on this. A little bit of WD-40 here. I've got some coolant, but I hadn't mixed it up yet, so I'm going to try this. Something's better than nothing, right? We're through. So now I need to swap the drill bit out, and I should be able to do that without moving. Well, no, I'm not going to be able to. Let's say I might be able to do that without moving the hole saw, but that ain't going to work. So, or not the hole saw, but the drill. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to remove the drill off of here to change a bit. I guess we need to test fit and make sure that I got the hole here the right size. Nope, too darn big. Dang it. So that means I'm going to have to weld the hole up and re-drill it. I'm gonna have to probably swap over to hard wire. I was fixing to have to do that anyway. That flux core is not going to work real well for that. I like it. I ain't gonna shove it in there quite all the way because I take it back out because I'll paint the trailer and everything, but that's gonna work. Alright, so I went ahead and mixed up some coolant. This is what you're supposed to use here. It's like $70 a gallon, but you mix it with water and it makes up to 11 gallons. Anyway, just mixed up some in my spray bottle here. What happened there on that deal was when I ordered those lights, I looked at lights at a couple different places, and some of the specs I was seeing range from either 11/16 or 3/4 or 13/16 on the hole size. Well, the lights that I ordered said that they were 13/16 would be the hole size that would be needed, or right at it, it was a decimal point. And I know on usually 2-inch diameter and 2.5-inch diameter marker lights, the hole has to be, you know, slightly bigger than the light diameter for the grommet size. So anyway, the lights that I ordered were supposed to be like that, so that's why I went ahead and drilled the hole to 13/16, but apparently it should be either 3/4 or 11/16. I don't have a 3/4 bit. I have 11/16, and it looks like 11/16 is going to give me a good tight fit. So it must depend on where on the grommet they're measuring at. If they're measuring on the biggest part of the grommet, on the little lip on the back that goes under, or they're measuring from, you know, the actual where it's supposed to be. So whoever's doing the measuring, I think, is just a discrepancy. The lights are probably all the same. Anyway, I didn't know, so drilled the wrong hole size. We got that one corrected. I'll have to correct the 3 on the back on the little bar that we made in a previous video. But at least we know now we got the lights here. We can do the other side correctly. Give you guys a close-up look at that side. Wasn't 100% perfect on my countersink there, but it's going to work. It's countersunk in there. Less chance of it getting broke, and that's what you got to do if you're trying to go through, you know, 3/8 material to get that grommet to overlap the back of it so it'll stay in there. So good on that. All right, guys, the next thing is I want to weld these fenders up, and the way this is made, the way I had to make it, left the outside corner right here, so you'll be able to weld, and you'll have a place for your weld bead to go. So just got this barely sitting on top of here, like the easiest way to do it, and I'm gonna get a few tacks in here to hold it, and then we'll flip it over, and we'll have a nice seam on the other side in order to lay our bead in. I've already swapped the machine over to hardwire here. As you see, that's just a small 10-pound roll from Tractor Supply that's overpriced. But I use this dual shield flux core here for structural welding, but it's not any good on anything less than about 1/4 to 3/16 thick. It's too hot, it'll blow through. It's more for, you know, heavier plate. But anyways, set you guys up over here. We'll get a few tacks on this. We'll flip her over. We'll be ready to weld out this fender here. Go ahead and get both of them assembled. I believe that's the easiest way to do it, because I don't think you could put it in there 2 pieces and be able to get it assembled where it would fit right. So. Talking about the lip, the place where your weld bead to go. Well guys, I'm gonna have to go ahead and snatch these tires and wheels off. I didn't want to. I mean, it ain't that big a deal, but I didn't want it if I didn't have to. But I'm gonna have to because I can't even get where this is welded back there to cut it loose because the tire's in the way. So, let's snap them off. Good old scrap iron. Alright guys, so I got that on there. Took about 2 hours. And I've got it welded out on the bottom side pretty much. Except for a little spot behind that brake drum I couldn't get to. I can weld it from the top side or whatever. Anyway, I'll explain to you a little bit about what took so long. I had to do some trimming on the fender here to narrow it down. The reason is, when my dad built this trailer 30 years ago, he made the outside of the pipe 84 inches outside to outside, which that works with these little mobile home tires because they're narrow. If we swap these axles in the future to a standard axle and put a standard tire and wheel on it, the trailer frames are 83 inches. So I wanted to get this backsplash offset on top of the pipe. I wanted to be back, you know, close to, I'd get it as a ½ inch, close to 83. And that way, that gives me room in the future, if we swap these axles out, that if I need to where the tire comes around the pipe, if I need to modify the pipe, it wouldn't be that hard to modify the pipe. I could probably just heat it up, you know, red, and smash it with a hammer and get a ½ inch out of it. And the spring hangers will be new spring hangers anyway, so they would be offset a little further inside to make it work. So basically, what I did was, these fenders are 9 inches wide, and I got them offset in there a ½ inch like that. That way, you see 9 inches, 8.5. That gives me a ½ inch right there that I can smash in this pipe. If we swap these axles, that'll give me a ½ inch per side that I need for the standard tires and wheels. A little more work to do it that way, but I figured that would be wise to do it that way. That's going to make the fender protrude out inside of, there you go, it's going to be upside down, but you can kind of see there. But I mean, that's not a big deal. I had to trim that out right there, but I'll weld it up and it'll look okay. So that's kind of what the reason I went about doing it that way, is to make sure I don't have any issues with the tire rubbing the backsplash. If you've ever run into that on one of these trailers, say if you run something up against the inside of it and bend that backsplash in, or bend your fender out a little bit, you know, it will start smoking the tire and could actually catch on fire. So that's what I'm trying to prevent. I wanted to get it offset in there, and I had to trim this whole backsplash down about 1/2 inch with a torch, and to get it to do that. But I'm happy with that, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other side the same way. I'm probably going to start my notch before I start trying to even put it on there. Now that I kind of got an idea about what I need to do, I'll start notching it out here, and then it should go a little bit quicker. Alright guys, so I've got the other fender on. It went on a little bit smoother, it fit a little better. I did, still have to notch it and everything to get it to fit like I wanted it. I went ahead and made these end caps here for my light, put a piece of wire through it right there so I could tie onto and pull my wire through. Won't have any issues with that. I just capped off the back one back here like that. It's not going to have a light in it. And I was going to show you guys the way I did that with a square on the fenders, because I know the camera didn't pick it up real well. But if you look at this right here, I'll set the square down here, and you can see the gap. You can see what I was talking about the 1/2 inch now. It's touching the frame, but there's a gap, a 1/2 inch gap on the backsplash here that you can, stick your finger in. So that's extra clearance for the tire, to keep the tire from rubbing the backsplash, splash guard, whatever you want to call it there. So that's the reason that I notched it out on both sides and moved it in like that. And that way, if and when we upgrade these axles under here to normal axles, wherever the tire is close at on this pipe, I can heat it up and hit it a couple licks with a big sledgehammer, give myself a little clearance. And this here is 83 wide from here to there, and so this pipe being 84, all I have to do is make it match right where the tire section goes, if we ever do that. So that's the reason I went about that way. You can see pretty good what I'm talking about there. So hopefully that should all work. I'm about wrapping up everything on the bottom side. I'm gonna have to turn this thing over multiple times, I believe, just to get everything done. I think I'm gonna have to flip it back over again to get my ramps and everything fabbed up, figure out how they're gonna work. So this is what happened when you don't think ahead. I was not thinking, about putting fenders on this whenever I first started. I'm gonna use the old ones, so I didn't bother to take the time to cope this square tubing out to make this flush here, so that in the future when I did put fenders on it, that it would look right. Anyway, we decided to go ahead and do the fenders, and yeah, so now there's a gap there. So I've cut some flat bar over there that's not structural or anything, so I'm just going to slip this in here like this and weld it up, and that'll fill the gap up, make it look a little better. I think I can make that work out where to look a little better, and also make it easier to paint, because it's going to be kind of hard to get paint down in that little narrow crack. And it will give a little bit of strength to that fender, say if you had a blowout or whatever, or if you backed into something, caught the edge of it. So we'll start the welder up over here, and I'm going to tack that in there, and then I think we're going to fabricate some brackets with a mag drill to mount our ramps with. Alright guys, so I have converted the mag drill over to a regular drill truck and a hole saw here. That's 1.5 inch hole saw. The drill is rated for 1.5 inch capacity, but it's going to be spinning that hole saw a little bit too fast. This is only a single speed drill press. Hopefully we don't burn it up. We're going to keep plenty of coolant on it. You cannot use the coolant bottle here because it hooks up to here and center feeds through these annular cutters. There's no way to utilize that doing this here. The reason I'm trying to use a hole saw, I only have 8 of these holes to drill, and the hole saw is 15 bucks. An annular cutter and 1.5 inch side is 150 bucks. So I hate to pay $150 for a drill bit to drill 8 holes, and I'll probably never need it again. So anyway, all you got to do to remove this is You take this little set screw out of this brass collar here that's for your coolant, and you spin it around till you get the hole lined up in here. There's a set screw behind there you got to remove, and that allows this whole thing to drop off. And you take these bolts out of the base right here, and that whole thing will drop off of there, and then you can attach your secondary shaft with a set screw there, your drill chuck, tighten it up, put whatever bit you want in there. So I'm going to start out on this piece of flat bar here that I have not cut off yet, and cut us a hole here and make 2 tabs that'll go on right here for our ramps to mount on. I'm going to leave those 2 there that's welded there. I think I'm going to try, if possible, to drill that with it still on the trailer, and that way I don't have to make but 2 of these instead of 4 of them, because those are still welded solid on there. If I can figure out how to get the mag drill up on that in order to drill a hole through it, I'll just do it that way. So let's see if we can make these 2 here to start with and see how it looks going to go with this hole saw. I could probably remove this pilot bit out of here, but I'm going to leave it in there for right now and see how this goes. Well, there's one. The hole saw was wobbling around a little bit whenever I first started, so I don't know how good our hole is. It's a little warm there, but she cut her out. How many holes that's going to work, but I don't need but 7 more. Let's see if our piece of ramp bar is going to fit. Yep. It's a little bit big because, like I say, the hole saw was wobbling around. Should still work though. Have a wee bit of slack in it. Alright guys, I know you probably can't see the best in the world because this dozer blade is blocking all my light, but what I did was cut a piece of that 3/8 flat bar, a foot long, and I tack welded it in 3 spots on the back side of this ear so that I'd have something for the mag drill to set on. I've got everything lined up here, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to bore a hole through through this eye right here. And we're having to go through a weld too, because this was the sucker rod that was on there. And what my dad did 30 years ago when he built this, he cut a hole in the eye, put the sucker rod through it, welded on both sides of it. So I'm going to be drilling through the piece of sucker rod, because I just whacked this off right there on the ramp, the mount there. So I'm going to be trying to drill through that plate, and that is 1/2 inch plate, as well as the plate that I got on the back side of it is 3/8, and the sucker rod that's still in the hole right there from when he built it. So we'll see how this goes. This is my next to last hole here. So got this one and then the one on the other side. All the ramps are done. My 2 fresh ones I made are done. And this is just an effort to save this, to keep from cutting it off and making a new one, because there's nothing wrong with that if I can get a hole drilled in it. So we'll see how it goes. We made it through the first plate. I don't know how far in the second plate we made it, but it doesn't matter as long as we got this hole drilled. Oh, we didn't get too far in that. Not that it matters. Just a mounting plate for a drill there. But we did get us a hole there. That should work. And that'll save from cutting that thing off and welding a new one on. Alright guys, so it is the next day. I've got the trailer moved out from under the dozer blade so we can see what we're doing and access the back of it a little better here. And I got this set up here. This bar is just barely going to be long enough, but I've got a drill bit chucked up in there. I believe that's a 5/16 bit. And my idea is I'm going to try to drill a hole through here so that I can put a bolt in it, and that way if you need to remove the ramp, you can simply remove the bolt, slide the pin out, pull the ramp off. What are you doing, cat? And so hopefully this is a good drill bit. This is a cobalt bit. It was a good drill bit. I don't know if it's still sharp or not. It was laid over in my toolbox. But I'll fire this drill up here and we can get started. If the cat will go on. Why don't you go play, cat? Yeah, go play? Yeah, you're going to have to go play. Oh, down here. I'm gonna say that drill bit's not the best. Or that bar, it's really hard, one of the two. It could be that. Now I may have to go with a smaller size and then step it up. I don't know if I even got a smaller size. Let me take a look. Alright, we swapped over to a 1/4 inch bit. Hopefully this one's alright. Run out of stroke on the drill bit. I'm gonna have to bring my bit down just a little bit. What I did with my chuck. It's almost all the way through. I think that right there will get us. And I moved the whole drill. Oops, gotta go back down the same hole. And I'm not opposed to just leaving that a 1/4 inch hole because I think it'll work just fine. Alright guys, the other side is done. All I need to do now is set the mag drill up here and re-drill these holes here that I drilled too big to start with, had to weld them up. So go ahead and do that, and then I suppose we'll be ready to flip the trailer back the other direction, stick the ramps on it so that I can see where my latches need to go, get them tacked into place. I got to do some welding on the other side of the trailer, and then we'll have to turn it back over like this again, I think, because I want to paint the bottom side of it and everything, but I can't do that until I get all the welding done. So anyways, I'm going to have to stick the tires back on it so I can flip it back over. And then I'll have to flip it back upside down again, take them back off to paint behind them and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to get these holes drilled and then we'll get this thing flipped back over. Alright guys, so this is the ramps. I got them up there. Everything turned out well except for the latch. I don't like the latch and I'm going to change something on it. I bought these latches here off of eBay and they are just a weld on latch. And they're kind of chintzy. I don't really care for them. I mean, this is what they're made for. They're supposed to be strong and all that, but I don't like them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back off and lower this so that the pin is closer to here, and I'm going to have to cut the pin off. I didn't do that because the pin's really long. If you look right there, the pin's coming way down through there. So when you remove it like that, you know, that clears. But if I cut the pin off, I can move that down so that it will be a little stronger. Probably not required, but that's what I'm going to do. The second problem I have is the location of the trailer lights. I bought these pre-made housings right here that's got the license plate that'll go right here, and the light will go here, and the side marker light there. And I stuck this one up there and welded it on. I thought that looks good, and then I got to looking. When you get behind the trailer, you can't really see. You know, half of the light is blocked, not half of it, but a third of the light is blocked by this rail here, and then the license plate's not going to be able to be readable, which the way it was before, it wasn't readable because it was up under the bottom of there and tore all to pieces. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do on that yet. If I move them out further, it's going to be over width. Because the outside of the fender is the maximum legal 102-inch wide, and this here lines up with the outside of the fender. So that's not an option. And they're not going to fit real good back here with the license plate right there, because where the license plate is, I measured, and the license plate is actually wider than this, so the license plate's going to overhang in here, and there's no room here for that to happen because of the ramp. So I don't know. I mean, obviously the lights will be a lot more visible back here, and that's what I originally thought about putting them, was planning on putting them. It's just the fact that the ramp right there is going to kind of interfere with the license plate. I may just have to drill some extra holes in the license plate and slide it over and let the license plate hang out to the left a little bit or something like that, because I think the actual light box will fit right there with no issue on the ramp. So that may be what I do, because I want it to be visible. Obviously, they're more protected up there from getting broke, but they need to be visible, because if people can't see you, they're liable to run into you. And with these drivers these days, they're liable to run into you if you even can't see you. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is relocate those things to the back and go with it from there. I got the center bar there re-drilled, and everything looks good. The springs I notched. There is a left and a right on those springs, but I notched that right there on each side, and it seemed like they're going to work pretty well. Pull that up and lock that down, and then there's the ramp there. Push it on down. I'm going to trim off the bottom of these and probably the top two, so that if you drive something up on there, that sharp point won't be on the tire. Alright guys, working on redoing these latches here when I had them too far spaced up, because they come with the pin really long, and I wasn't thinking, I was tired, and I welded them on there and then got to looking, I didn't like the way it looks. These things are really cheaply made out of thin material, and it's got a big walled out hole right there that you know that's going to beat back and forth and get really egg shaped, and it's sure enough going to be bad. So I've got this one here fixed up. Don't look real close to that weld. I ran out of regular MIG wire, and I'm using flux core, 045 flux core, which is way too big a wire to be trying to weld this thin stuff with, and it just melts it. I'm using what I got. Anyway, what I'm doing is I am putting a flat washer on here like this that will double the thickness of that thin metal. It's actually a slightly smaller hole than what they had laser cut in there, plasma cut, whatever it is. Anyway, so that'll keep that from beating the hole out. Then I'm going to cut this pin off like I did that one. And you want to make sure when you cut the pin off, if you decide to do something like this, that you pull this up all the way. You don't want to cut the pin off any shorter than what this will pull up, or else that will come apart, or not really come apart, but it'll go past that and it'll get all crooked on you and cause issues. So anyway, once you get it up there like I did this one, you have minimal gap there. That's probably a little over 1/4 inch right there. It's tighter than it was. This will pull up like this, like that right there, and it will open up. And then put that down, pops back in the hole, should be good to go. So I think that'll work out pretty good. If for some reason it don't, I'll do something different, but I think that's a lot better than it was. I mean, so that's what we're going to go with. Also, I am building my own light housings instead of using those cheap ones, and I had mounted up there. I'm putting them back here on the back, and I'm having to design my own. I originally wanted to do that, but I didn't want to do that because it's hard to get this hole right here for the light, these oval shaped lights. It's hard to get this hole precise with the torch and whatnot. You can do it, it just takes time. I have done this before using a hole saw on each end and then cutting across with a grinder. I did this one with a torch and a die grinder, trying to clean it up. It's not the best in the world. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do on that. And I'll be able to move these back here, and it'll give me room for my license plate to go whenever I get them mounted here, to bolt on the bottom of that. And I'll get it fixed up exactly how high I want them to go. That's a lot heavier duty. What it is a piece of 5x3 angle iron and a piece of 3x3 angle iron, because that's what I happen to have in stock over there. Welded them together like that. Leaves a flange here I'll be able to drill and bolt the license plate below this, and cap the end of it and put a light in the end of it here for a marker light, and we should be good to go. I may cope this out back here, cut this and cope it into my side over there. I'm not sure yet. I haven't got the other one made yet, but that's the plan for now. These are the ones that I bought because they were cheap, because I didn't feel like cutting this hole out. And I mean, they're just bent little thin stuff, and they kind of tacked them together, and I don't know, man. I just decided not to use them. So anyways, we're not going to be using those. I'm going to go ahead and put these on there, because the first time I hit something with this, with a tractor loaded with scrap iron, or a piece of scrap iron falls, they're probably going to get destroyed anyway. That right there hold up, that's 1/4 inch. So I don't know why, if somebody's going to go through the trouble of building a bracket, they can't make some heavy duty ones for a trailer like this. I mean, this would be fine for, you know, a trailer nobody's going to really do much with, but haul, you know, something on the top of the trailer. But if you're trying to haul scrap iron or loading stuff with a forklift or anything, bumping into it, you know, stuff like that that can be dropped or whatever, and going to a salvage yard, this right here is really not the ideal thing. Alright guys, so that's what they're going to look like. I got both sides done. I had to tack a piece of flat bar up here so I could drill my hole in the end, because this was the cutout piece off the back side of here. I coped this in. If you see, this is flush across here, and so I just had to cope that out, use that for the end cap, welded flat bar up here, tack flat bar up here so I could drill it with a mag drill for my marker light right there. And that is the heavy duty light housings there. That's the way they need to be, so you can beat on them and stuff. They don't bend. So anyway, I'm happy with that. I could cut this side here off flush down here, because the license plate goes on the other side. Not sure if I'll do that or not. It's not hurting anything like it is. I'll round the corner with a grinder or whatever. I got to come across this and clean it up with a grinder a little bit. We're pretty well done with all that. I've got to drill a hole in the bottom of it here for the light wiring, and I've got some 1/2 inch pipe over there. I'm going to bring the wires out of here into a pipe down up under the trailer and run it across the bottom, tie it into our middle light bar here, and then go to the other side to the main harness over here. So I think that pretty well wraps up most everything as far as the welding. I've decided not to put the little extensions on here to keep the trailer from picking up when you drive up on it, because if we swap, well, 2 reasons. If we swap the axles up under it and put a bigger tire on it, it's going to change the ride height for the trailer a little bit, and so whatever I put on here is going to be wrong anyway. The second reason is, if I weld anything else on these ramps, they're going to be too heavy for you to be able to pick up and remove if you need to, and this trailer is only 18 foot long. So if you haul something, say 20 foot, so you want to haul a pickup or something on it, you need to remove these ramps for whatever reason, the way they are now, you can simply pull this main pin out right here, and you know, one person can do it. It'd be kind of challenging, but one person can do it because I put them on there by myself. But you could pull them out and lay them up under the vehicle, and chain them down or something flat. If you weld a bunch of stuff on here, you know, that's going to not be a possibility anymore. So it won't be too big deal to throw a block of wood down up under the center here, up under this. That's 1/4 square tubing. Throw a block of wood down there, and be good to go on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, because like I said, that's pretty well everything on this part of it. The next step is going to be, you know, just got a bunch of grinding and stuff to do, trying to get this thing kind of prepped for paint, and put that in another video, and continue on with the project. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.